Hello, everyone. Hi, y'all. So I am making this video kind of late. It's what time is it? It's about to be 7:30, and I'm gonna try and make this as quick as possible. But there is something I have to say, and I just have to get it off my chest. Um, for about 4 or 5 months now, I have been feeling like that I've been living a lie. If you keep up with all my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. But for those that don't know, I have not been to church. I have not picked up my Bible in about 5 months. I probably haven't been to church in a little over a year. And that is because this may be hard for you guys to hear, but I am not a Christian anymore. I'm not. I would probably consider myself agnostic at this point in my life. I'm not totally and 100% saying there isn't a God at all, but right now in my life, I'm not a Christian. I am not 100% convinced that there is a God anymore. I'm just not. And I'll tell you why. Robert and I, if you don't already know, I mention it all the time. We've been struggling to have kids, and this struggle to have children has really taken a toll on me. But it has brought about some amazing life changes in my personal life and in myself. So I don't know when exactly in the past 5 months that I first started looking into other religions, other ways of life. But at some point, I mean, I can't pinpoint when, but in the last few months, I had really gotten into Buddhism, and I bought this book. And I talked about in a different video how Buddhism isn't a scary thing. Buddhism isn't a religion, it's a way of life. Buddhism isn't worshiping Buddha or worshiping monks or anything like that. It's not worship. Buddhism is just a way of life, a way to reach enlightenment, which is basically having total and 100% peace in your life, being free of fear and being free of pain, all that kind of stuff. Now, do I really believe that through Buddhism I can be 100% pain free and free of, what was it? Free of pain and free of death and all this kind of stuff? Not necessarily. However, I do like the idea of having this carefree life. And with Christianity, it is always taught that God is number one. And to have pain-free life, you pray to God, you believe, you ask God for forgiveness, and then it's a lot of waiting for God to answer your prayers. You praise him in the storm, you praise him in the happy times, you pray without ceasing, which I cannot do anymore. I cannot pray without ceasing because there are things about Christianity where I feel like there are holes in Christianity that I can't look past anymore. And so with that, one big hole in Christianity for me is that everybody's equal. All sins are the same at the foot of the cross, which for me is mind blowing because for me to have lived a life that I have lived, I started going to church when I was a kid, probably started being a regular attender when I was in like 4th or 5th grade. And I've been in church my whole life. And for me, especially with this kid issue of not being able to have kids, I have worked so hard to try and be a good person, to be a Christian, to read my Bible, to pray, to go to Bible studies, to go to church, to tithe, all for it to end up that the one thing in my life that I would want more than anything is to have a child is the one thing I'm struggling with the most. The one thing that Robert and I struggle with is trying to make a child. And for me, I'm like, if I have been a wonderful Christian, have done everything God has wanted me to do, why is this a struggle? Why is God holding us back from this? Why does this have to be this hard thing? I already believe in you, God. I already do what you want me to do. So why do you want me to struggle? I know everything there is to know. I want to get close to God, but through a struggle. And then for me, you have so many other people in the world that are doing awful, terrible, terrible things that have done just done awful in their life, and they have better situations than regular people. How can Joe Schmo down the street who's cheating on his wife and beating his kids have an amazing job, and people think Joe Schmo is such a wonderful man and he's making good money? And then you have Sally Sue, who's struggling as a single mom, and she's going to church every day, but she can't get up out of the struggle. It doesn't make sense. And that is a big, big hole for me that I can't look past anymore. I just can't. And so for me, I've been seeking something different. And Buddhism for me is that something different, because with Buddhism, I don't have to wait around to see if my prayers will be answered. I don't have to pray without ceasing and hope God may or may not pull me up out of this. And I don't have to wonder what's going to happen. With Buddhism, with Buddhism, I'm slowly learning that your mindset and what you do, it's not, oh God, please help me get through this day. It's, I'm going to be mindful of everything I do. It's, I'm going to look within myself. I'm not going to let people, places, problems, actions get the best of me. And I feel like with Christianity, you lean into God for everything. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't need to lean into God. I need to lean into myself. You know, everyone says, lean into God, wait on God, be patient for God. But at the same time, they don't tell you, in the meantime, you have to do the work. So what's the point? What am I waiting around for God for if I still got to do the work in those in-between times? I might as well just do all the work myself, because honestly, I feel so much happier now. I feel less anxiety now than I did going into the church. And I'll tell you what's really crazy. You know, I know people say that when you're doing good or when you're trying to get better is when you're going to be most attacked. And I think that's true. I still believe that's true. But the one place I felt most judged and most misunderstood was in the church. I always felt like I was living two separate lives. And I think I really realized that when I was in high school, that there was Cassie, who was a Christian, and then there was Cassie, who was with my best friends, cracking sarcastic jokes and making fun of people, making fun of things. And sure, that's not a nice way to live. You shouldn't make fun of people and make fun of things and be sarcastic and rude and ugly. But at the same time, people always see me as this cute little cookie cutter Cassie. So when they got the other side of me, they were like, whoa, who's this? I remember a time in high school when someone had asked me something and I was frustrated, and I snapped for a second, and they're like, oh, Cassie. Yeah, I get mad. I have feelings and emotions, but I think people have looked at me for so long as, oh, she's a Christian. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't say that, but that's not who I am. And I've recently, within the last few months, I have been looking at, not only Buddhism, but yoga. And with yoga comes like your energy and how you feel in your body and everything like that, and being grounded. And I found on YouTube this woman, her YouTube name is Fearless Intuition. That's her YouTube page. And I haven't always believed in tarot cards and tarot readings. It's not something I've ever looked into. However, I discovered her YouTube maybe back before the summer or during the summer. I never thought too much into it. But the more I look into things and look into tarot cards and follow her readings, I'm like, wow, it is so eye-opening, the things she says. And not only that, there are a lot of times where I'm like, oh, this is just general, but she has personalized readings for each zodiac sign. So when Taurus comes up, which I'm a Taurus, I listen to her zodiac, her readings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the things she's been saying are so powerful. And she speaks in some of her previous Taurus readings about Taurus being able to manifest things and bring things to into the real world, make them tangible, to believe in yourself, to really believe that you can make things happen. And there were times in my childhood where I would think about something. And I think as a kid, things were so simple. And I would think about something. And it would be the littlest things, but these some things that I think about, I go, I wonder about A, B, and C. And then something would happen. And I go, hey, that's kind of like what I had just thought about. And I think as a kid, I didn't know, but I might have been more in tune to it as a child. But I believe 100% that if I believe hard enough and truly want something to happen, it's going to happen for my life. More so than ever, more so than when I was a Christian waiting on God. Right now in this moment, there have been so many things that I'm like, I've been thinking about, and even doing this video. I was scared to do it, but there was a reading that her name is Betsy, Fearless Intuition, did tonight. And in the reading, she was talking about living a double life and not living up to the status quo, what society wants you to do. I've been wanting to make this video for the longest time, telling people that I don't believe in God necessarily anymore, that I'm not really a Christian, but I've always put it off because I've been scared of what people will say. I've been scared of what society will think of me, what my friends and family will think. But her reading tonight spoke so deeply to me about not living your truth, about living a double life, feeling like you're not going to live up to people's expectations. And that's everything I have been feeling for the past 5 months when I first started getting out of the church and getting more into Buddhism and believing in my own self. And so I guess where I'm going with all this is that from now on, I am not going to be ashamed. I don't want to be shy or scared to tell people that I'm not a Christian. I will say I'm agnostic and I'm studying Buddhism, but that's not a scary thing. And I know some of you may be watching this thinking, oh my God, she's lost her marbles. I haven't. I promise you, I am in a very sane state of mind. This has been going on, like I said, for 5 months. I've been going back and forth about how I feel with Buddhism and leaving Christianity behind. I'm not crazy and I'm not scared. I'm not scared to not believe in God because at the end of the day, no one on this earth knows for 100% fact if God is or isn't real. The only people who know for certain if God is real is the people who are buried in underground, 6 feet under. Only they can know. We'll never know. I'll never know until I pass and go to heaven or go to hell, whatever it is. We'll never know. And that's not for us to know right now. That really isn't. But in the meantime, I am not scared because you know what? What Christianity says is that God has a plan for everyone. And if that is still the case, then this must be just a detour on my plan. I might have just taken a different route on the way to wherever God wants to take me. This is just my detour. If you believe that God has a plan for everything and that there's my life is already written up in the stars and the heavens, then you know what? Don't be afraid for me. Don't be scared because this is my path. And my path may look differently than yours, but it's supposed to. It's supposed to look differently than yours because we are not the same people. Don't be scared. Don't be frightened for me or afraid for me. If you want to ask me something about Buddhism, about what I believe now, what I'm trying to accomplish, because I believe so much in my own self and my own power, more so than I ever have in my whole life. And that's not scary to me. It is incredible. It is enlightening to believe into myself, to believe in my ability to make things happen because I have struggled. No one really knows this, but I've struggled for so long with wanting to be the best Christian I could be, the best person I could be. But maybe the best Christian I can be isn't being a Christian right now. But the best person I can be is just loving people, loving myself, and caring for me. Caring for myself and my well-being. People don't like to talk about mental illness, but mental illness is real. And I wouldn't say that I have mental illness, but I have bouts of depression, like I'm sure anybody does. And especially especially having been a Christian, I had a lot of bouts of depression where I would be just so sad, waiting on God and struggling to find answers. But you know what? I don't have that anymore. I am at the happiest place in my life that I think I've ever been so far. It's a struggle still, excuse me, Robert and I trying to have kids, and it does make me sad. But you know what? I'm not sitting around wondering, why is God not letting me have kids? Now I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm not going to wait around for God to answer the question. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to put all my love and compassion and energy into trying to start a family with my husband. And I'm not going to be sad about it anymore, because I sat in a lot of sadness waiting on God. I sat in a lot of sadness watching other people get exactly what they needed for their life, while I sat here empty handed in Christianity. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Don't be scared for me. Don't be frightened for me. I feel a weight off my shoulders, so much so. And I just wanted to say that. And I've been wanting to say this forever, but don't be scared for me. Don't be sad for me. I feel so much better about my life. And I've said it in previous videos, but I'll say it again now for anyone watching. I am not totally denouncing God. One day down the road, I might go back to church. I might really genuinely sit through a service and feel moved and touched like I did maybe as a kid or as a teenager, but that's just not who I am now. So if you do believe in Christianity, hey, maybe look at this as just a detour for my life. Maybe I'll get back on track down the road, but right now I am agnostic. And I am really studying and trying to learn everything I can about Buddhism. And if you don't know anything about Buddhism, research it. Look into it. It's not scary. Buddhism is about being a good person, not harming others, keeping your body healthy. It's the same things as Christianity. Buddhism runs a really what is the word I'm looking for? Buddhism and Christianity run the same parallel. You know, they're a little different, where with Buddhism, you're not worshiping a god, because Buddhism isn't technically a religion, but they run the same parallel and think the same things. Like I said, oh gosh, you know, I have this and I've looked into this, you know, keep your body healthy. They have, what they call it. It is called, oh, where'd it go? I can't find it now. I'm looking at my book, but, Buddhism and Christianity they run the same parallel. They have some of the same values that Christians do. Like I said, don't harm others, don't bring harm to others, don't be greedy, don't want money, those kinds of things. Because it's the same with Buddhism, that it's all a means to an end, and you can't take anything with you. So Buddhism and Christianity do have the same principles and values. It's not scary. Look into it. Definitely look into it. But this is where I am in my life now. And I really hope, I hope against hope, that my friends and family won't judge me for this. I really hope against hope that my friends and family will be understanding. And I mean, you don't have to be supportive if you don't want to. I know that a lot of you know that I've been a Christian my whole life. I was baptized. But it's okay if you don't support me. But I do hope that you will not be scared of me, or scared of who I am, or scared of the person I'm going to become. Because who I am now is a much happier person than who I was with Christianity. Thank you guys so much for watching. This ran a little longer than I wanted to, but I really hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a good week.